Oh, no. I'll just sit here with you.
You're not recording now, are you?
I am recording now.
Oh,
Okay.
dear.
Okay, you ready?
Hello, everyone. Welcome to the second podcast by the smooth end of the pineapple. I am Matt Bell.
And I'm Scot McPhie. And before I proceed any further, can you please explain what happened 10 seconds ago before the music?
Well, it's being recorded. I thought it wasn't being recorded, and I did announce to Scott I've done my pre-show fart, so everything should be good. No, we've got some nice sensitive mics, and then I had to bring it up now.
And you didn't even blame it on the dog. I mean, come on.
I did. I should have done. See, this is the thing I'm missing. I've got the dog. He's right here. I should.
Yeah.
Well, any smell.
Advantage of it.
That's
just
him.
Look at the dog.
Yeah.
And he's there with his tongue poking out. Have you drugged him?
That is one of our favourite things about our dog. He always sleeps with his tongue sticking out.
And you ever tempted to
lovely.
just pull it and see how far it comes out?
Yeah, I have touched it before. It gets very dry, and I think it's his temperature regulation.
You rub a bit of Vaseline on it just to moisten.
Yeah. He doesn't actually mind you just playing around with it a little bit, and then he's very tolerant.
Oh, that's really
then he
good.
gets to a point where he goes, okay, I've had enough.
And then bites you, right? Well, I'm out of the driver's seat in this episode. Matt's driving this one.
Yes, I'm driving this one. I'm asking the questions.
And
although Scott is the one that's Scott's the one that's in front of the laptop, so he gets to push the buttons still. So I think Scott you did a stellar job last time. I thought you must have had some radio experience. You did so well as an interviewer.
Well, thank you.
You have had muchos experience in the industry, though, haven't you? You've done many, many different things.
Yeah, not in radio.
But that's going on the CV now, isn't it?
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, extensive podcast experience.
Extensive experience.
Yes. Well, look, I don't like to be called a jack of all trades, but I've certainly done lots of things. I graduated in theatre back in the 80s. I got kicked out of the acting course.
Did you?
Yes, which now is a bit of a badge of honour, actually, to be honest.
You're what's his name? Liam Neeson.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
I thought he got kicked out. I don't know whether. Hopefully he didn't. I hope I haven't got some kind of legal issue. Maybe he left.
Okay. We can neither confirm nor deny. He might come around and hunt us down if we get that wrong.
Yeah. The number of things that I can neither confirm nor deny is huge.
Yeah.
It's pretty much
especially in regard to Liam Neeson.
It's pretty much everything I know. Yeah. I can neither confirm nor deny.
Do you say that at work? Have you finished that project? I can neither confirm nor deny.
It's my favourite phrase.
Is that power station going to burn down?
Yeah.
I can
neither confirm nor deny as I'm starting the car. I usually say it then.
I believe they call that plausible deniability.
Yeah, that's right.
So I changed to doing stage management. And lighting was my thing. I loved lighting. And I'm just whacking my microphone.
Yeah.
That was back in the 80s. And I worked as a stage manager in a comedy restaurant, Crazy's Comedy Restaurant. People in Brisbane might remember very fondly. That was a lot of fun. Yeah. And made a lot of low-budget films. I think 3 feature films and a couple of documentaries. And obviously I haven't made money out of it. But I've got 4 kids and I was a stay-at-home dad for about 11 years. So, it was either pursue career or look after your children, and I chose children. And the filmmaking has kind of been a more or less a glorified hobby. I was hoping it would kind of take off and my wife would be able to retire and I'd work on that. But, it is a very unfamily-friendly industry, and so it's been kind of a hobby, and it's really just petered out in the last few years. So I'd like to do some docos. I am just about finished a degree in anthropology and ecology, and I want to do a grad dip next year in ornithology because that was the thing I always loved when I was little, and I've just kind of come full circle back to that. And comedy is something that's always been there, and I've always loved it. And love what we're doing here. So yeah, jack of all trades, I guess. But it is good that you end up having skills in a lot of areas, and you can actually thread them all together. And putting on our shows has been a great way to do that. I can get the performing and the writing side satisfied, but also organise some of the technical side as well. So it's been good.
And something thoroughly respectable, I think, about what you do is your projects always have meaning behind them. They're all things that you care about.
They're passion
things
projects.
that are worth caring about.
They've been passion projects. Maybe that's why they're not making much money. But that's okay. So I mean, most of these films ended up on YouTube, but even comedy, like it's great to be passionate about comedy. I just think comedy is the greatest art form because I think I can't quote it correctly, but I know there's been studies about how the brain works with comedy, and you connect different parts of the brain and things like that. And I just think comedy does something that no other art form does. And you can have the worst thing in the world and take the piss out of it, and if you do it right, it's actually good because it's a stress relief.
Well, I think and one of the backbones of it is essentially you're comparing ideas very very quickly, seeing how different situations and different ideas compare to one another. And essentially that's where something funny comes. I have heard it said that cruelty is at the heart of all comedy, and I don't think that's true at all, but there's like comparing ideas or a contrast in a situation or conflict. So that burglary sketch that we played in the last episode is probably a good example of that. And and that's someone you wouldn't really say it's cruelty, but it's someone up against ridiculous odds. Something that's just getting harder and harder. And blocked at every turn. And
I think that's why people like that sketch, because they relate to it in one way or another.
Even something as simple as it makes me think a little of the cheese shop sketch.
Yes,
because it's even though it's the same, it's the same thing. He's just blocked at every turn. Dude, no,
and it's more and more ridiculous.
No. And it's just, but I can't go that way. I can't go that way, and he's just getting more and more into a corner. I agree.
So yes, comedy is. I think I'd go mad without it.
You know what?
I'm not mad already.
I think I feel the same way. When if I go too long without drawing something or writing something that I hope is funny, or at least even thinking of something that I hope would be funny to people.
It's I think with art in general, it's a very human response. And my last couple of novels, I wrote most of them between 5 a.m. and 7 a.m. in the morning, because that was the only time I could get quiet around the house, and that was fine. I was more than happy to get up and do it. And you just need to do some stuff. It's just, in a way, it's cathartic. It helps you deal with thoughts and feelings. And now I'm working as a laboratory technician at a school, and my day-to-day life, probably like yours now, is actually very much in the scientific space, and you've got to be, as much as you may plausibly deny whether or not something may happen, you've actually got to be and I'm dealing with extremely dangerous chemicals a lot, and you have to be very, very specific and very, very factual, and which is all very worthwhile, but it's, you still just need your artistic kind of side catered to as well, and it's very funny, much, isn't it?
It's very much if you got to treat these things with respect.
Each thing
and
in
there
its
can
own
be
way.
Catastrophic consequences. Even though blowing up a science lab was probably very funny in itself.
The colours were fantastic.
There are so many funny sketches that can end with that. So if you ever are going to do it, I would ask that you set up the recorder.
And
preferably
sulfur,
video and audio.
Magnesium, potassium, it's the different colours that come out. That's the amazing thing.
If you're going to destroy a lot of things with chemicals, don't waste that moment. Make sure you record it. And I'm sure we could write like a dozen sketches that all end with the same bit of video. Something exploding.
Do you know what, mate? This reminds me of a memory. When I was in Toowoomba in 1985, I just got my McPhie plates, and a great uncle who was a World War One vet who had a missing finger from mustard gas.
Wow.
I had to drive him home, and I'd only just got my P's, and, you know, everyone was like, oh, is it safe for Scott to drive him home? And anyway, this bloke, Uncle Colin, goes, if you're going to have a crash, make it a good one. Write us off properly.
Great attitude. Make it interesting.
Yeah. Like
make it a good story.
Go hard, do the whole hog. You know, I mean, it's better to overdo something and regret it. than not. When they say that at the end of your life, you know, it's the things you don't do you're going to regret. And yeah, I mean that's something with the smoothing of the pineapple. Like, as you know, we now live a couple of hours apart, and there's a stress in organising stuff and doing stuff and getting the shows on with our family and work commitments and everything. But, you know, we can't not do it. The stress of not doing it would be worse than doing it. And I would hate to sit back in a nursing home when I'm 90 and go, oh, I really wish I'd done more shows. I wish Matt and I had kept going with it, you know.
So, and it's it's interesting you say that. We do need to, you need to keep the business hat on now, because since we do live that far apart, you can't just do the roll up and just sit around for a while and just see what comes and see if we get inspired by something, watch TV for a while. You can't, you've got to we've got to arrive and sort of get into business mode. We've got to do this and this, and preferably we've thought out what we're going to do in our time.
Make your time efficient. And one thing I miss is when we used to, when I was living in Brisbane, we'd meet occasionally and just read a whole lot of new sketches. And that was a huge amount of fun. And I used to record them, and I think maybe one of our podcasts we should just revisit some of those recordings, because when you introduce a sketch for the first time, it's fresh and it's new, and I just love seeing your response, and I'm sure you love seeing my response, and it's just airing it, and it's just, and you know, you can't go wrong. It's just it's just fun.
Yeah, and especially when it's fun, you know, when it's funny stuff. I feel very privileged in that I'm going, well, I'm one of the first people who hear this. You know, maybe thousands or millions of people around the world will hear this one day, but I was the first one. That's what I was thinking just the other day, how wonderful it would have been to be, you know, on The Simpsons or Family Guy or Seinfeld, to have been the first one to publicly say some of the things that people quote for years and years afterwards. Those guys in the booths on Simpsons, I'm thinking, well, that they're the first people that said those things.
And you wonder if they kind of knew the significance of it at the time, or if it was just a joke and they said it and kept on going, and then it became popular and it became a bit of a catchphrase or a repeated joke or something.
Yeah, and I've heard that said by actors. People that do shows or films and say, well, we just did this other thing.
Have you read many of Michael Palin's diaries?
I've read the first one.
Okay.
I've bought the second one as an audio book, but I don't, because I wanted to hear it read by him, but I haven't started it.
I think it's might be the second one. I've just flipped through it. A good mate, Dennis, gave me a copy. Dennis, who does our sound mixing, actually gave me a copy a few years ago, and I was flipping through it, and I just came to the section where they were reading the scripts for The Meaning of Life for the first time. Oh. And Palin writes, Terry J brought in this great sketch about a man who explodes.
Yeah.
Imagine being there, seeing or hearing that for the first time. You know, it's great.
Yeah, and I found that with his first one when they were talking about things that were going to go into Life of Brian, or things that they were going to go into Holy Grail.
Yeah,
and to have been in the room. To have been one of the first people to ever hear that.
Yeah.
And as you said, I'm sure they would have been sitting there thinking, well, will this fly? Most of it they would have been going, well, we know this will be gold, but...
Yeah, but you know what? I think that, like, what are you going? You got to be prepared to take a risk, but if you don't think it's funny, you don't even want to try it. So, like, for me, it's I value your feedback a lot. So now we just email scripts to each other, and I'm really keen to hear your feedback once I send one. But, you know, I think at the end of the day, you've just got to go on what you think is funny yourself, and, you know, just hope there's enough people out there who also think it's funny, and we found that. So
it's a case of finding. I think that the biggest thing for people doing this, I think, is finding your audience.
Yeah.
Because even if there are 1,000 people in the world who really get it, it's a case of finding them.
Yeah.
And showing them, letting them know where it is.
Yeah, which is one reason why we're doing this podcast, to try and spread our net a bit further. The live shows are great. They're hard to organise. They're great, and they always go well. But we need to try and spread the wings.
It's always so depressing at the end when it's finished.
Yeah,
and I find that's the
it's
thing.
It's high though as well. Really high,
yeah. And that's the thing I say to people when they're asking is I love doing stage shows. Is lovely. It's wonderful. The audience is right there.
Yeah.
The feedback is right there. The reaction's right there. But at the end of the run, it's gone. Yeah. It's over. You don't see the people again. Well, we don't see that when you don't see them again when you're filming, I suppose. But at least when something's on camera and something's on film, it's there. It can be, and I suppose from a fiscal point of view, it can be sold over and over again. It can be viewed over and over again. Whereas the stage stuff, it's wonderful, but it's just the people in the room at the time.
It's so immediate when you do it, which is the beauty of it. I did when I lived in Sydney in the mid-90s. I did a production of The Crucible, and I played John Proctor, and we were in small theatres, but geez, you could feel the emotion between the stage and the audience because they're only a few metres away. It was amazing, but it's all gone. But it is what it is when it is, It's,
And even things that I haven't done it for a while now, but I used to do, live corporate character stuff.
Oh yeah.
Where at big events you'd go in as particular weird characters and just interact with people.
Yeah.
And just to keep people amused.
Yeah. Between
big important things happening. And there would be wonderful moments with people, but it was just one-on-one or one on 3 or 4, and they'll never be recreated. Yeah.
But the beauty, I remember one of our shows at Lock and Load at West End, which is now called something else. I can't remember what it is. It's changed anyway.
Yeah.
That room upstairs, one of our shows was packed, and at the end of the show, everyone was on a high, everyone was smiling, and for that moment, everyone's in the same, everyone's thinking the same. There's just a unity, a fun, all these different people all on the same page, just really happy. It's just it's a high.
Yeah. That one and we won when we went back to my old hometown as well. It was just a group of people sitting around enjoying a vibe, and there were just a few people adding to it. Like for me, it's like the old days when people would sit around at smoko time, at morning tea time at work, and people would be
you just share jokes to make other people happy.
Exactly. Tell the funniest stuff. Everyone's sort of adding. And I suppose it's not quite the same with live shows, but there are a few people adding, but everyone's enjoying. And people are adding with their reactions. Audience are adding with their reactions.
It grows. It's just great. Now I'm looking at Ralph here. He's rolled over, but the tongue stayed. It's like the tongue stayed anchored to the couch, but the body rolled over.
Yes, I really do love that with him. With the tongue stuck out, he's wonderful. And I'm loving having him here. You can get away with it in your house, but I think if I started taking him to
him to work, he could be your emotional support tongue dog.
If I'm getting worried about deadlines or anything, I just touch the dog. A bit of an ear rub, and that's the dog, not for me.
Just so everyone can picture this. What kind of dog is Ralph?
Ralph is
he's about 3 or 4 feet long too. He's quite large.
We reckon he's boxer basset cross, because he's got a very much a sort of a basset hound head, basset hound features, boxer size, and shape, boxer colours.
Big one though.
Yeah, and maybe a bit of ridgeback in there. I don't know. The vet said he might have a bit of bloodhound in there too. Because he's got a bit of that look about him.
Yeah. He doesn't have that instinct about him, though.
No, not the killer instinct.
He can seek out food, though.
Yes. Oh, yeah, he'll find that no problem.
I took my biscuits upstairs before with good reason.
And he's got his good lion walk about him. When he walks along, if we're walking along the creek or anything, he really walks like a lion.
Yeah, but he's a constant presence when we rehearse down here in Matt's room, and he's in a couple of photos on our Facebook page. He needs to go on an album cover at some stage. It's called the album Ralph the Wonder Dog.
Yeah. Oh, that's it. Next one done.
Ralph the Wonder Dog.
Oh.
Yeah, we do have to record the third one sometime, and that's something that I thought we'd follow in the podcast, is actually the process of recording the album.
Oh, very good idea.
That would be interesting. We'll just walk through that whole process. That's something we should look at later this year, I think.
Pick the guy who's thought about this a little bit more than I have.
We have got a running list. Remember I was emailing you sketches. With the albums, we're trying to record them more or less in the order that we wrote the sketches in. So the next one will be sketches that we wrote, a fair while ago, but I want the albums to reflect how we developed, I guess. So
yeah. And now that some of them, a lot of them have been in live shows.
Yeah. We know.
We want to get them down.
Yeah.
In more of a studio setting.
Yes. With good mixing. And it's great having Dennis mixing our shows now too. We realise what knobs we were before we got him.
Oh, I know. Once we actually got a sound person.
Yeah.
Oh, my God.
Which was for the first time ever. We've, I don't know, probably done maybe just under 20 shows or something over the last couple of years. And it's only the last few that actually had proper mixing. The rest were just us setting it up, hoping it sounded good.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
And he used so many more settings on the mixing desk than we ever did.
I think he understands the mixing desk that we don't. We understand the basics.
Yeah.
But, yeah.
Yeah, it's very, very basics, yes.
Yeah, so anyway, you're driving this one next?
Oh, yes, I'm driving this one. Now
I'm going to crunch an ice cube, excuse me.
Well, while Scott swirls ice cubes around in his glass, I will. What we're going to do now is in the original first episode of the Smooth End of the Pineapple podcast. All that time ago.
Yeah. Well, I wanted to ask you, in the last week since we recorded that last one, how you been?
Oh, mate,
What about that big political news? What do you think of that?
Great here. The political. Oh, look, that politics. That
it's
sport. Just crazy, and all those sport things that went on. The sport things and the movies that came out. That's such a big week.
But the funny thing is, Matt's been sitting in that seat for the last week, stroking the dog, waiting for me to come back to record episode 2.
Absolutely. I didn't want to disturb him. I didn't want to disturb the dog. Yes. So, yeah, that was my week. It was a very relaxing week, I've got to say. A whole week of stroking
really
a dog.
Quickly, took about 15 minutes.
Yes. And again, like I said in the first podcast, it's not a euphemism. I'm stroking an actual living dog on this lovely couch. I do like this couch. We got this
grey charcoal.
Yes, it's a grey charcoal. It's sort of a felty thing. And it shows up lines. Shows anything up though.
You can stroke it as well.
Yes, that's right. You got to be careful on this one because it shows up any sins.
That's without a UV light, right?
Yeah, especially sins that dry clear. You can't get away with that.
Can I ask the same thing about your C-3PO pillow over there, or your Batman pillow?
Well, the C-3PO pillow is actually it's quite a sheeny surface on it. So I think sins would most likely slide off that one. Sorry. What were you hoping for something higher brow with this?
No.
Good.
On the topic of highbrow and lowbrow, the other day I watched Baywatch, the Baywatch movie.
Wow.
Have you seen it?
No.
Oh my God, it's terrible. It is bad lowbrow. Like, my kids and my wife are going, "What are you watching this for?" I said, "There's such a thing as good lowbrow." But this isn't it. It was terrible.
But I would imagine, though, there would have been lots of very beautiful people in it.
There was, and you can't blame the cast. They're all good actors in their own right, but shocking, terrible script. Didn't set up the jokes properly. Didn't give us a chance to get to know the characters, empathise with them, build tension when they're not getting things they want. And it made the original TV series look like a work of art.
Whoa.
That's how bad it was.
Wow.
But anyway, let's not dwell on that. So, you were about to ask me something 5 minutes ago.
I was. In the first podcast, you said, Matt, if we were going to play a sketch, a smooth end of the pineapple sketch, what would you choose? Yes. And I very dutifully chose burglary. That you informed me afterwards that you were going to use in another one.
That's right. Well, we can refer back to it now.
Yes. So, Scott, here are 3 albums.
Okay.
Our debut album, our live album, and our second studio recorded album.
Okay, well, I will pick one of yours then. Which album is it on?
Scanning.
And
since some of them are...
I've got it, hang on.
Oh, okay. Yeah?
So, off the first album, let me find this on my little laptop now. This is Wildlife Guy.
Oh, wow. These are a trip down memory lane. This is wonderful.
And me as a soon-to-be ornithology student, I love this. I love conservation, but I also have a sense of humour. And anyone who doesn't have a sense of humour needs to be chained down and made to listen to this for a long, long time. It's self-titled, isn't it, that debut album? Okay.
Yeah.
So here comes Wildlife Presenter, written by Matt. And I think it's just your voice in this, and I did all the mixing on it.
I think it is.
Yes. Okay.
Yeah.
So written and performed by Matt. Here we go.
People throughout the ages have marvelled at man's achievements, from the imposing monoliths of Stonehenge to the majestic pyramids, which, upon completion, became a part of the skyline for miles in any direction. Perhaps even more incredible, however, are those who were here before. The seemingly limitless number of species which make up the truly astonishing ecosystem of which we are a part. Those whose everyday workings are even more incredible, more astonishing than man's proudest achievements, the world of the animals. This tiny creature is the Alexander's field mouse. Appearing to the casual observer to be as common as can be, this beautiful creature exhibits one specific behavior that makes it truly extraordinary. Its ability to... Ow! Bit me! Little bastard! As you can see, the Alexander's field mouse, when threatened, possesses the ability to very realistically play dead. Even to the point of regurgitating its lower intestine to convince any passing predator that it is, in fact, deceased. It is the last living descendant of the great and powerful dinosaurs. The earliest European explorers were labelled fools and liars when they returned home with its description. It is the single largest animal walking the surface of the earth today. It is the African bull elephant. Weighing as much as 15 tons, this magnificent beast here has a strength unmatched by any living creature. And when members of our species managed to tame these incredible animals, we were able to accomplish feats of engineering that had previously been impossible. But the thing that makes this massive mammal truly stand out from the rest is its unique ability to... Oh, gosh, you stood on me foot! Oh, you clumsy... Oh, I'm gonna fix you. Well, as we can see, the African elephant has an entirely unique defensive mechanism when it detects a potential threat. That being the ability to spread itself out over an area of approximately 50 to 60 feet.
Well, there you go.
Yes, definitely channeling my inner conservationist.
I love the line where you say, the last living descendant of that dinosaur.
Yeah, this mammal. Yeah.
That was a huge amount of fun to mix. We get all of our sound effects, we either make ourselves or we get them from free sound effects libraries online. And not in this episode, but another one, we'll do one where we talk about all the people we need to thank, because it's not just us, there's a lot of people who've contributed in one way or another. So we'll go through the sound effects library, but mixing a sound effect where I have to do an exploding elephant.
And actually, that one of my favourite memories about our live shows stems from that, because on one of them, remember when you'd very dutifully mixed it in stereo, and then we ended up
was mono.
Yeah, we ended up playing it in mono in the in the show, and we had this big wonderful explosion, and then it was we did the line, "It's the African bull elephant," and it was just coming out of one
and that is
speaker.
actually on the it was at the Brisbane Fringe Festival, and that's on our album Live at the Fringe. You see on the back it says Wildlife Guy Asterix, and then if you follow the asterisk somewhere, denotes small elephant version.
Oh my God, that's right. And, people are going to have a hard time believing that, but I did not. That wasn't planned.
Yes.
I'd completely forgotten that was the show where we did it. It was recorded. There you go.
Yeah.
Small
All right, so there you go.
elephant version.
And the thing I love about that sketch, to me, it shows the bounds you will go to for a joke. And I just think it's lovely. Just where the humour is, go for it. It's just beautiful.
And that's our live album with the stereo medium fidelity on the cover.
I think there was a caveat based on my audio mixing abilities.
Yeah. We don't want to tell any lies.
No, yeah.
Oh, well, look, everyone, thank you so much for listening. Anyone who may inexplicably still be listening.
Yeah.
Thank you very much. And I think I've had a great time talking into this mic. And imagining that it may possibly be enriching someone's life.
Connects to eardrums
somewhere
around
in the world. Yeah. So I think until next time.
Until next week. I'll see you in another week.
Yes. Anything you would like to add?
No,
so,
just look. Go to smoothpineapple.com to find all the links for our Facebook and YouTube and all the other stuff.
Oh yes, the stuff.
We know about that stuff, as you can tell.
The website thingy for the stuff.
Yep.
That's great.
Yeah.
So, as you can tell, Scott's good at setting that up, and I'm good at promoting it. The website thingy for the stuff.
And we're both good at being out of our depth with it, but anyway. Okay, so should I press play on the theme music?
Yes. Yes. Please press play on the thing, sir.
And thank you. We'll see you all in a week.
Bye, everyone.